Hello and welcome to 120 Podcast. This is Cole, your host, speaking. This is part 2 of George Amolo's episode, where if we go back, George Amolo is an acting president of the Paramedic Association of Kenya, and he's currently a paramedic student who is hopefully going to come towards the end of his studies in due course.
To be in your job role or in your career over the next 5 years?
On the next 5 years,
Yeah,
because I I believe that at managerial level, because the reason why I'm saying this, apart from being an EMT and also a paramedic student, I was able to push for the registration of paramedic professional body in Kenya, which
yeah.
is supposed to be, you are supposed to register the association so that paramedics can be able to organize themselves
Okay.
and be able to do their own things in a way that's supposed to be done. Also through that, because now we have been working on several issues pertaining the regulations as well,
Yeah.
and also with the issues of having a parliamentary act which will give us an opportunity to have the statutory body so that the paramedics can have autonomy to practice independent without being disturbed,
That'll be good.
because professional freedom is very, very important to a
100%.
profession like paramedicine. So I've been doing this, and I take up this responsibility when I was actually in my first year,
Oh,
though
well.
it has never been easy, because I've been having a lot of opposition,
Mm.
because people up to now, there are so many people who haven't believed that the paramedicine profession has changed. Things have changed.
Oh,
So we need to
massively.
be, yeah, we
Massively.
need to be, we need to be more professionals so that we can have that authority to practice. So based on my experience dealing with these issues, I think at now, because right now most paramedics, they depend on me, because I took up that leadership of
Yep.
guiding them and
Yep.
telling them this is how we are supposed to do. So that has also helped me to build on my leadership skills, of which I believe in the next 5 years, if we manage to register the association, it will give me a better position when it comes to the managerial role, because it's something that I've grown with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've
From the
grown with
start.
it.
Yeah.
It has exposed me to, because at some point I used even to go to the Minister of Health by myself,
Mm.
presenting the documents. I've been engaged with even up to now, because
Yeah.
right now the paramedicine, based on the MOH directives, the paramedics now are being housed by the doctors
Right.
regulatory body,
Okay.
because we are still unregulated. So
Yeah.
meaning that as the leaders within the association, we keep in touch with the doctors regulatory body, so that we assist them when it comes to the issues of paramedic,
Yeah.
because when we have when we have an organized house,
Yeah.
to pass the communication is very easier.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
so we are working with stakeholders within the government,
Yeah.
and also from different cadres. So this also puts me in a better position as a contact person when it comes to the issues pertaining paramedics. So that within 5 years, I believe that I will be somewhere like that managerial, whether it is will be junior, but that's where I see myself based on my experience and things that I have done.
Oh, definitely. And the fact that you've brought it where it is to now and moved it forward so much and are there as a liaison between those paramedics and what they need and to be
Yes.
regulated. And also the fact that you are a spokesperson and also you support your fellow team members and colleagues. I
Yeah.
think I can definitely see where you're coming from there. That's
Yeah.
it's admirable. And I know it's a long battle. And I
It's
know
a
that,
long battle. It's a
yeah,
long battle, because especially for a country that is still in transition, mood like Kenya. And also
Yeah.
paramedicine is also still young in Kenya because the program was started in 2015.
Wow.
So, and as many people come into the profession, they don't have enough information when it comes to paramedicine.
No.
And also to make it sad that even those people who are training paramedics right now, they are not paramedics. They are specialists. So
Yeah.
they don't have more
Doctors.
information
Yeah.
about paramedicine. So sometimes even the things that we are talking about, they don't understand. They don't understand. But for me, I've tried to make paramedics understand the profession well by sharing information. Because one thing that I normally concern with
Yeah.
is what is currently happening within the paramedicine profession. I usually make sure that I follow what is happening within the paramedicine profession. So meaning any development that is happening within the paramedicine in the UK, I must make sure that I know.
Well, I mean, I've
If
seen
it
you
is
do that.
Australia,
Yeah.
I must make sure. If it is Canada, I must, because
Yeah.
we must be updated with the current practice,
100%.
so that whenever we are developing ourselves there in Kenya, we actually know where the world is moving,
And you're
so that
developing in the right way as well. Yeah. You're developing the right
we
way.
don't get we are not left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really
Yeah,
good. That's a good strategy. I have seen you with your posts, so you update people and put things on, which I think is really good and some interesting stuff. But I really enjoy seeing your posts on LinkedIn and whatnot. So I have
yeah.
noticed you doing certain things like that. So do you feel universities and training institutions, colleges or whatnot,
Yeah.
are doing enough to provide paramedics who are proactive professionals,
Yeah,
researchers, leaders, rather than passive practitioners? So I'll repeat that question again. So do you feel that
yeah.
the universities are doing enough to provide paramedics who are proactive professionals and leaders? Do you feel they're providing them with the tools rather than making them more passive practitioners overall when they qualify?
Uh, Looking at the curriculum, according to the curriculum, how the curriculum has been designed,
Hmm.
it should give that framework of producing people who are proactive. But
Right.
now that again goes to who are the lecturers. Because as I understand right now, most of our lecturers are not paramedics, they are specialists. They are
Okay.
specialists. So the specialists who come to teach a certain uh, unit, let's say if it is let's say neonatal, they look for a specialist to come and teach. But now that one, that lecturer only comes to teach that specific unit for that semester. And once the semester is completed, the lecturer is gone.
I see.
So the paramedics are just left hanging with the information that they are supposed to get concerning that unit. But again, at the moment, we don't even have the paramedic student association in the university. So that again create a gap for producing paramedics who are grounded with the leadership, and maybe the proactiveness is not there because they don't have student association for paramedics. Because
Right.
if they had that, the university had created that environment where they can have their own association within the school, then that will create a competition among them.
Is this
Then they will start discussing about the profession, about the challenges that they are facing as students. So that one now will give birth to proactive paramedics when they graduate, because they started it when they were in the university. But if it is not there in the university,
there's no
they're just
foundation?
going for semester, then they just graduate.
Yeah, there's no foundation. The more I hear about
Yeah.
Kenya and the paramedic education, the more it just keeps reminding me of Freedom House. They had specialists, that taught them the skills. And don't get me wrong, back then in the 60s, I understand why that was made the way it was because the paramedic profession had not been established yet. They were the first.
but the best people to teach people paramedicine are paramedics.
Yeah, paramedics.
I appreciate that in some specialized areas, it's good to have a specialist in as a guest lecturer. I do get that, and I appreciate that. But you're never going to get a better person to teach paramedics than a paramedic themselves.
Yeah, it's paramedics. But right now we don't have paramedics, so they just specialists come in and teach, and they go.
I see. When it comes to the teaching,
Yeah,
you say it was 4 years.
yeah.
How many placement hours do they get? Out of curiosity, how many hours on placement or how many hours of practice placement would they get in those 4 years?
The 4 years, the practice placement, I don't know, it is 60 hours. I've forgotten, but maybe I will check on my
Just a
logbook.
thought, because we get like
Yeah,
500 in the
logbook.
UK,
I will
per
check
year.
on my logbook. I'll check on my logbook. But what I know is that when I was in first year, third year, like we
Mm,
used to have like a whole month for clinical placement.
yep.
Yeah, like a whole month for clinical
So
placement.
30 days. I know you won't work every single day, but 30 days you'd have shift patterns and you would have clinical placement. Would that be an
Yes,
on-off thing
yes,
though? Would you have like a month
yes.
where you'd be on placement and then you'd have like 2 months at the university, let's say, and then would you go back out on placement for another month? Or was that month the month of placement only?
Like first year we didn't go for clinical placement. I think clinical
Okay, yeah.
placement started in second year.
That makes sense. Sometimes they do that. They build a foundation of
They
things and
build the
then
foundation first.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
in second year is when you start going for clinical placement.
got yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the UK, they've changed it a couple of times, but between 300 and 500, depending on the standard of what is set at that time. That's quite a few hours. And in that time, we could be doing 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts. But we've got to
yeah,
meet the hours aren't as important as such when it comes to the actual framework that we've got to complete. But so let's say we have to do what, let's say 500 just for argument's
yeah,
sake. Let's say we do 480, but we've completed all the framework. Sometimes there's a bit of give there because if you haven't been able to with the shift pattern, or you've not
yeah,
been able to go out on placement because your mentor has been off sick, or there's not been opportunity to go out on placement,
yeah,
then sometimes that is looked upon as well. So, although the hours are important and they do make the time is very important out in practice. It is
yeah,
also important that the framework is complete as well, and
yeah,
they do put that first before the actual hours in certain cases. But the more hours you do, the more chance you've got of gaining experience and knowledge out there in the pre-hospital setting. And I think that's
yeah,
important as well.
yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think we used to like we spent like I think we used to spend like 2 months, 2 months, then 1 month uh
I
placement.
remember back, isn't it? A while ago is the problem. It's, I got,
Yeah.
I'm struggling to remember mine as well from 5 years. You know what I mean? It is difficult. It's all a blur. But no, I appreciate that. What
Yeah,
responsibility do practicing paramedics have to shape and advance their profession? We've talked a bit about this already, but
yeah,
rather than waiting for governments and institutions to define it for
yes.
them, what can they do now to help themselves and their profession?
What they can do now, for example, participating in policy development, like the one that we just submitted yesterday, they also need to create awareness about their profession.
Very important.
We also need to start having like uh, organizing this kind of webinars, like the CMEs,
Mm.
organizing things like conferences, and just sometimes they need to like take initiative. They organize meetings and discuss about their profession. Some who can actually request for airtime from the media. They go and talk about the paramedicine.
Right.
They also engage at the county level, at the community level, creating awareness about the profession, uh, because it's our civic duty again to make sure that we let the people know who we are. Because right, Kenyans, they know that the ambulance exists, but they don't know the clinicians working in the ambulance.
Of course.
And all this even goes to the healthcare professionals working in the hospital. Just recently, I I sent a request because there's a day I attended a CME that was organized by the is it Cardiac Society of Kenya? A
Okay.
critical society of Kenya, cardiac, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
So I attended their CME was about the traumatic brain injury,
Right. Okay.
the electrolytes. So during that session, after the session, I requested that if they can be, we can work together so that paramedics can be attending such kind of forums. Because in Kenya right now, we don't have like a national protocol for traumatic brain injury, and this cut across
Oh, there isn't one there
because
already. There isn't a protocol
yeah,
for.
yeah, this cut
Sure.
across the paramedics response to those kind of injuries. So we need to have like a national protocol for management of TBI, so that in case there is any accident involving a traumatic brain injury, the paramedics know that these are the national protocols. So when they manage a patient, even those people are receiving the patient, they know actually what the paramedics are doing when it
Right.
comes
Okay.
to the management.
Yeah, that's
So
good. That's
yeah,
good.
so they accepted, and the last CME that we had, they invited me as a panelist.
Oh,
We were
wow.
talking about the stroke, and I managed to share the information that I had, and I also some of because I had made a presentation about the current update, the AHA ASA 2026, which
2026.
majority were not even aware about mobile stroke unit, that right now it's been incorporated in the new guideline,
Oh,
the
that's good.
ASA
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
It recognized the mobile stroke unit. So we discussed that, and through that, uh, at least right now, they know that this thing cut across, and we can develop a national protocol that can guide both pre-hospital and hospital, so that we make sure that whoever is dealing with managing a certain case, they know what's supposed to be done, and even the hospital know what paramedics are supposed to do. So such kind of engagement is what paramedics need, so that other healthcare professionals can actually understand who we are and what we can do.
This is true. In
So
emergency like
sometimes,
that as well, you need to know what they can do and where we stand. It's all about multidisciplinary teams as well, isn't it? Working together.
yes. So sometimes it's a personal initiative. You just see something, and you can always request. People will always welcome you.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. I'm really glad you was able to notice that and raise awareness and being a panelist as well. Impressive. And working on trying. You're always trying to work on making the paramedic profession a better place, and I admire you for that because it's not an easy task. And I know you're not doing it alone, but I know that you're doing quite a lot behind the scenes that not many people see. And I have every faith that you will reach where you need to reach because you're very determined, motivated, and very persistent. And I think that you will get to the point that you need to get to. However, I think it will be an uphill struggle at
Yeah,
times.
yeah, and what usually helps me, because having been in the field for 12 years practicing as an EMT,
Mm,
there are so many things that I observed, and there are so many weaknesses that I have seen. from people who are supposed to do the right thing.
Yes, of course.
So through that exposure and experience, and now that I was lucky enough to be to go to school and enroll for paramedic program, that again gave me a motivation so that I can have that authority of doing something without being overlooked. You know, sometimes people usually overlook people,
It can happen,
but
unfortunately.
yeah, that you can't do. But what people don't understand is that we are living in an open world. And I can tell you, Carl, is that sometimes when I sit down and I reflect how we have wasted a lot of time if we were like committed to build our healthcare, our pre-hospital care system in Kenya, we would have done it. And by now, we would have be having a structured, organized pre-hospital care system. But again, that is not there because people don't want to do it.
Never
We
been a
talk
priority.
about it, yeah, we talk about it, but we don't want to do it because uh, sometimes people enjoy chaotic environment because
Oh, yeah.
there are those who benefit from it. So they don't want these things to, as much as they talk about it, but they don't want it to be developed. Don't Kenya, let no one cheat you that Kenya cannot build its system. Kenya has money. But the only problem that we have in Kenya is mismanagement.
I see.
And this cut across not only from the government side, but even from this side of working class and those people who are in the management, it cut across. Me personally, I've seen how many donors have come into Kenya and they're ready to chip in and help our system. But when you look at the end of the day, when you look at what is being done, not what even the donor expecting to be done. So people enjoy the chaotic, the way the situation is fragmented, people enjoy it the way it is. And that's why, for me personally, I have a different mind that once we just get the registration certificate, we can do something different from others. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but learning from the weakness and the exposure that I have, and because for me, I always believe that you can always do the right thing for your country and for your people without putting your interest first.
Of course, I totally agree with that. And when it comes to the registration and whatnot, even though, like you
Yes,
say, you might not be the best, it's hard to
yes,
define what the best actually is. But you are
yes,
someone that sees things a way that it needs to be seen, and you are a person that is doing things the way they need to be done. And this at the very start of this process, that is why it needs right now more than ever. It
yes,
needs someone to speak up, to rally everyone else, give them belief,
yes,
provide them with options, inform them of the information, educate them, and
yes,
speak up and try and reach out to these other organizations and institutions and say, this is
yes,
what we are, this is who we need to be,
yes.
we need to change this.
You need to change this in
And
good
change will
faith.
never happen unless someone speaks up first. And you've
Yes,
done that and continue to do that. So I do think you are one of the best people, if not the best person I know, at least, for this position in order to do what you need to do and achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. It would be good, though, if you had additional support from the people in Kenya. And I'm hoping that as time goes on and the more awareness that is raised, you will get more support instead of them being stuck in the cycle of what they're stuck in, you know?
the support the support at the moment is not there because people sometimes they watch and see.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
Bystander
maybe
effect. Remember the bystander
yeah,
effect?
bystander
Yeah,
where,
that's a
where,
classic.
yeah, they want to see where how far will you go.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and for me, the only far that I can go is that certificate of registration. Once you have that certificate of registration, because that certificate of registration will give us authority to have administrative office where we can start, even a small room where we can start doing our administrative work.
Yeah.
Then through that administrative office, because when you have your own office, there are so many things that you can do behind the scene.
Oh, of course there is. A team
Yeah,
around you as well. There's a lot of
yeah,
things you can
yeah,
do.
yeah. So as much as maybe people will be not seeing, maybe they are not even willing to support you, but as you work behind the scene, you will always get people who will support you behind the scene.
That is true. And you'll be more
Yeah,
established as well. And the more established you are, you'll get more
yeah.
traction
And
from that.
the only challenge that maybe we are having right now, because that the support is not coming in, because remember, as I told you, there are people who love the way the situation is in Kenya, the chaotic.
Yeah.
So they know that if the paramedics will organize themselves and have a functional professional body, then it's going to change the status quo. Because now because we want to bring the solution, we want to do things the way they're supposed to be done. Because
Agreed.
that is our job. That's our job as a paramedic. So for those people, let's say for those who are not paramedic, but they just found themselves in an emergency environment or emergency field, they think differently. They might not see what paramedics are seeing. And that's why you will find that even when it comes to the procurement of ambulance or even the staffing, no one even talk about this ambulance needs to have paramedics, or we need to have paramedics who can oversight the procurement of ambulance, you see.
That's true.
But
I mean,
when
the
but
yeah,
but when we'll have the association that is running, we'll have a voice to tell the government that before you buy an ambulance, we must make sure that we oversight the procurement, so that we make sure that when you bring an ambulance, you bring standard ambulance, not just ambulance that are being bought and being brought.
yeah. Not just a vehicle that moves around. It's got to have certain equipment in there. It's got to have certain things that need to be used in emergencies and blue lights.
Yeah,
Is it blue lights in Kenya? Do you use blue lights?
the blue light, no, we just use the siren and flash.
Like, fair enough, fair enough. But it needs to be well equipped and it needs to have a standard set in place and how it can be maintained as well.
Yeah,
Because you've got to maintain equipment and standards throughout. Otherwise, that's where safety gets involved and it's starting to become unsafe. So I totally appreciate that. This leads me on to another question.
and yeah,
So leadership in paramedicine is no longer
yes,
just about seniority, is it?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
about influence, as we've just discussed, advocacy
yeah,
and vision. But if I was to ask, what
yeah.
does modern paramedic leadership look like in Kenya, and how can frontline practitioners cultivate it regardless of rank?
The current leadership paramedic, how it looks like in Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
I would say uh, maybe from those individuals that have been employed by different organizations, because I know some who right now have been given the supervision role, whereby they head the department that they are working in. Some organizations have given the paramedics that opportunity. So that is at workplace. But now again, the leadership role, if you have a paramedic, even if it's a workplace, then on the professional side, you need to show it. And that's why I was saying sometimes we do organize a meeting, but people don't show up. So
Right.
even those people holding those leadership position in where they in the organization that they are working.
Yeah.
So to me, on that part of leadership, I would say we still not have it, because if we really have it, regardless how uh, our situation is right now, I would be seeing the paramedics, individual paramedics, taking initiative
Yeah.
to
Sure.
to advocate for their colleagues, to attend meetings. They sometimes even, I normally tell them, you can even organize meetings by yourself. It's not a must that I do for you. Organize meetings as you will attend. You are ready to listen to what you want to share. But that's still not there. So it's not there until maybe the time that we will start now running the association and organizing those leadership workshops. Maybe from there, because most of these people are young, are not exposed. So sometimes they might not understand if they have a role to play. But through mentorship, I don't want to judge them harshly, but I always believe that they just need mentorship, and so that they can be able to accept themselves and gain that courage that
And
they
it helps
have.
shape them as well. It helps shape them
Yes,
into the practitioner
yes,
they need to be in a safer way as well with the mentorship. Yeah,
yes,
that's
they have
good.
a potential to contribute.
So, do you think that paramedics in Kenya are uniquely positioned to lead on what might hold us back if we don't act intentionally now? So, let me let me re-mention that question. So, do you
Okay.
think paramedics in Kenya are uniquely positioned to lead and act on what they need to act on now? So, right now, the leaders in Kenya are able to act
Yes.
now and make a difference. Do you feel that that is a possibility?
Yes, if they get that mentorship, definitely they will. They
Okay.
will start seeing sometimes when you are not exposed to, that's why education sometimes it's good, because it changes how you think and how you see things.
Oh, totally.
So I believe even if they have that the paramedic undergraduate degree, but again, because there is the life that the university life and life after university is different. And this is now where they are going to start facing the reality of life. So because remember, among these paramedics, there are those who have their own weakness. There are those who
Yeah.
can't speak for themselves. There are those who can speak for themselves. So
Yeah.
for those who can speak for themselves, they can they can reach out. But what about those who cannot? So for those who cannot, this is where the leadership mentorship programs comes in. They need to be mentored, trained. So from that point, they will start, you know, gaining that courage and confidence. Now they can be able to see something and say something. Then from there, we will start seeing a change towards from that. Now the leadership will start coming. People will start appreciating that part of leadership. They start becoming proactive.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
Okay, George, just a final question, if I may. Um,
yeah.
what message would you give to the current and next generation of paramedics regarding their role in transforming paramedicine into a recognized, research driven, and regulated presence
The message that
profession?
I can give to the current generation of paramedics is that they need to own their profession first,
Yeah, I agree with that.
because this profession will become what the current generation will determine how the next generation of paramedics will be, and nobody is coming to save it from outside. So the recognition, the regulation, the scheme of service, and the legal framework, the seat at the policy table, none of that will arrive as a gift. So it will
You've got to
be
earn
earned
it.
through,
You've got to earn it.
yeah, it will be earned through organized documented, evidence-based, and professional advocacy over a sustained period of time. So for me, since now they choose a profession that runs towards emergencies, and when everyone else runs away, for example, they train as paramedics, but they run away, they don't want to be part of a solution.
Yeah.
So that again, it will create a problem. So, and they need to be present, and we
And
need to be
speak up as well.
organized.
And speak
They
up
need to
as
be,
well.
yeah, they need to speak up. They need to be informed.
Yeah.
They need to be loud in the right rooms,
Yeah. Loud
because
in the right rooms. Yeah.
because the patients need the patients who need because the patient needs people who are regulated,
Yeah.
people who are recognized, and also paramedic themselves, they need to be fairly paid, because
That is helpful. That is helpful
yeah,
because
and they need to advocate for that, so that for fairly paid, they need to advocate for that.
are they not paid
No
well
one,
at the moment?
yeah, no one can advocate for them to be paid fairly.
No, that's true.
They
They need to
just
educate themselves. Yeah.
so the responsibility belongs to the paramedics. They are the ones who are going to determine how their profession will be and how their profession will be respected. If they stay and watch, then they will just continue being frustrated every day. They're blaming the government,
Yeah.
but the government cannot bring solution to them. It's them who are supposed to come up with those proposals and everything and present it to the government. What we can only do, once we do our presentation to the government or submission, we give the government time. If they fail to respond or
Yep.
to include us, we shall hold them accountable.
But you have to do that first before you have to give them the chance to
Yes,
respond and give them the chance to
yes,
act before you can do that.
yes, because the document that we are sending to the government, those documents will hold them accountable if something happens, because the information that we are sending to them is not just a child play kind of information. Those are serious information that can change our healthcare system. So when they don't respond to such kind of submissions that we are sending, and yet we see, like the way the Auditor General report uh, recently uh, find some kind of the gaps that we have in our emergency response, but such kind of situation exists. Even the Auditor General has issued a report about it. Then we also submitted our submissions. If
Yep.
they fail to respond, then we shall use all the resources that we have, including the Auditor General report,
Okay.
to hold them accountable.
Well, you have the tools then, don't you? Because you've actually noticed something, notified them
Yes,
of something, come up with a possible
yes,
solution,
yes,
ask them to act upon that solution, and then if they
yes,
haven't acted or responded, they might not act straight
yes,
away. It takes time, I get that, but they might at least
yes,
respond. And that's how talks happen. That's how things build through talking and
yes,
communication. But if they don't
yes,
do that, then you can hold them accountable.
yes, because for example, there is no way you can talk about universal healthcare coverage, yet the paramedics are not part of it.
And it's
So,
a recognized profession around the world.
and there is no way you can say that every Kenyans have a right to emergency medical care, yet the paramedics are not included. So how do you want these people who 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 suffer from heart attack,
Mm.
asthmatic, or accident to be
Cardiac arrest.
treated when the paramedics who are supposed to be captured in the policy or universal healthcare coverage are missing?
It's true. It's a good point. It's a
Doesn't
very good
Yeah, it
point.
doesn't make sense.
There's no logic in that whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Literally,
it
it does not make sense. I'm glad
doesn't
you're.
make sense.
I'm glad you've picked up on it, and you and your team, and I'm glad that you're trying to build these steps forward and building a better and brighter future for paramedics in Kenya, which I think if it goes through, and I think it will eventually, if it goes through and everything works out the way that it's supposed to, getting that registration, hopefully it will
Yeah,
show
the
others.
registration, actually, Churchill is the one who is supposed to finish the registration for us. It's only that when you got a transfer,
Yep.
it's it made things too slow. But I'm hoping that this year will not end before we get the certificate, because I really have plans like not just 5 year or 6 year plan
Oh, is yours like
for
20, 30 year plan sort of thing?
yeah 2030, done
Wow.
something like maybe you do your fundraising, you acquire land, you build the headquarter for Paramedic Association.
You are proactive. I'm going to give you that. You are very,
So
very, very proactive. Yeah.
so that certificate actually delaying me.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
And because you need to work together, and for me, I think for us to work together, it will be very easier if we have a place that you can even have your own office in Kenya, right there in Kenya within the association. You see?
It's true.
So yeah. So even anytime you want to come to Kenya, there is Paramedic Association there in Kenya. There are guest rooms there. You can come there and and uh, there is no problem. You see, such kind of things that I'm really praying for and dreaming for.
It's all
To
possible. It's all possible.
yeah. For me, I know it's all possible. It's all possible. It's all possible. It's all
Well,
possible.
very much, George, for attending today. It's been really interesting and educational. Um, I really appreciate your time.
I'm also I do appreciate for this time.